A friend of mine, about 3 years ago or 4 years ago, took out a loan from a finance company, but the only way she could get a loan was through a guarantor with a property. Now, since then, she had a job at the time, and she was repaying the...
Sorry, is she the friend or is she the guarantor?
No, she's a friend of mine. She's
Right.
a friend of mine. And she
Are you the guarantor, Javid?
No, I'm not. No, I'm just a friend of hers.
Right, so someone you know has taken out a loan, someone guaranteed it. Sorry, I interrupted you.
That's right, yes. So she had a guarantor, and we had to have a property, but he then since sold his property, and she had she had a job for another few months, which was repaying the loan back. Unfortunately, she hasn't been able to get a job again, and she's on benefit. But the company, I keep asking her to fill up the income and expenses form all the time, and then finally now they're saying they're going to take her to the courts. Now, as far as I know, the reason she eventually got the loan was through having a guarantor. What rights does she have at this stage?
Right, so I just want to check I understand this. Your friend borrowed some money from a bank. How much did she borrow?
10,000.
Right. She paid off some of it, but she lost her job and hasn't been able to continue paying it off. The bank has been chasing her for money, and now they've threatened to take her to court to get the money. Have I summarized that correctly? And your question for me is, does the fact that somebody guaranteed the loan mean that she doesn't have to pay it back? Instead, she can compel the guarantor to pay it on her behalf?
I didn't quite hear, Daniel, sorry.
Okay. I think your question to me is, because somebody guaranteed her loan, rather than paying it back herself, can she compel the guarantor to pay it on her behalf so she gets off scot-free? Is that your question?
It's not been about scot-free, actually.
Right, Javid, all right, take a breath. Javid, take a breath.
Yeah.
In 10 words or less, what is your question for me?
Is she liable to repay this amount of money back? Because she has to...
I mean, why do you think she isn't? I'm not asking that aggressively. I'm asking out of interest.
Yeah, the reason being is that she will not have got that loan in the first place without a guarantor, and the guarantor hasn't managed to repay the company, and she doesn't have it. So what's going to be her situation?
Right, so I was right first time. You are essentially asking me, can she shunt the loan onto the guarantor and get away scot-free without paying it?
Maybe
that is what you're asking me, isn't it?
Yeah,
okay.
Because,
so the answer to that is, I mean, and the reason you're objecting to me phrasing the question in that way is because when I phrase it that bluntly, it doesn't sound very nice. But that is really what she wants to do. Am I right?
Yeah, because they haven't been forthcoming with the guarantor in the first place. He was evading the company, finance company, all along when he sold his property.
All right. So the bank or the finance company is entitled to pursue your friend who took out the loan for the full amount of the loan. When you take out a loan, you need to repay it. If you can't repay it, you can be sued for the payments that you're falling short on paying. I think you'd agree with me, Javid, that's not controversial. The fact that there's a guarantor as well gives the finance company a second option for somebody else to pursue should they choose to do so. And I'm slightly surprised they haven't, but that's their decision. What it doesn't do, Javid, is give your friend the opportunity to get out of paying her repayments by saying, well, somebody promised to pay the loan if I don't, so therefore I'm not going to and I don't have to pay it anymore. She is still the primary debtor, the person who's mainly liable for paying the repayments, and the finance company is entitled to pursue her for the full amount, I'm afraid, Javid. So I'm sorry that's not the news you were hoping for, but at least your friend knows the position that she is in.